So today we actually have something new for the 4Runner. It is an actual dash cam for this car. So nice practical upgrade for this car, and thanks to FitDVR, this is actually going to be a plug and play installation. No running any wires to cigarette lighters or to the fuse panel or anything like that. This is going to be straight plug and play using the power behind the rear view mirror. So let's open this up, take a look at what we got. Alright, so opening up the power adapter. This pretty much is going to supply power to the dash cam by using a plug and play harness for behind the rear view mirror. So you have to obviously have a power rear view mirror in order for this to be plug and play, but this will pretty much receive power, and then this pretty much acts as a 5-volt or a 12-volt, so you can run both things out of here if you really needed to. So if you had like a dash cam or even like a radar detector or something like that, you could run it off of one plug based off of this. And they give you a series of different plugs depending on your application. Then opening up the dash cam, user manual, and the actual dash cam itself. This is actually a 3-channel dash cam, so you have your front dash cam, interior cabin dash cam, and in here should be the rear dash cam as well. So they give you plenty of cable to run the rear one, and they also have power adapters if you choose not to hardwire it in. And this also comes with a SD card already installed, so no need to worry about getting one. So let's go to the front of the car and see where we want to mount this thing. So hopping up to the front, we're gonna need to tap into the back of the rear view mirror. So if you look there on the Toyota, there is a 7-pin connector that we're gonna unplug, and then this connector to the power adapter is going to piggyback off of that, and then it goes out to the power supply. So let's find a good spot to put this, so that way, I mean, there's not a lot of wires in here, and we'll clean this off and then we'll get it mounted, as well as find a spot for the actual dash cam. So I just piggybacked off the power supply and turned on the car just to make sure. So it's hard to really show on camera, but it's showing it's 5 volts, 0 amps right now. So now we can plug in the camera and find a way to mount this, as well as mount this. I mean, this isn't necessarily needed to be shown, but I guess it's good to know what type of power you're pulling from whatever unit you're actually plugging in there. So we'll mock this up, get this located wherever we need it to, and we'll get ready to mount the camera and run the wire all the way to the back as well. So they have a USB-C to the USB-A, I believe this is. All right, so I just plugged it in. I guess I'm gonna go through the setup real quick. I'd ask you for, it's not touchscreen. All right, so just ask you a few questions and we're pretty much good to go. So let me try to show all 3 cameras, or at least the 2. I just want to make sure the cabin one is pointed good, which it looks like it will be. I mean, I just don't want it to see too much of the rear view mirror, so I'm gonna put it pretty much right here. On the 4Runner right here, it's a little bit below the dots that are right there. So I pretty much got the 2 things mounted up at the front, and now we got to do pretty much the hardest part of this, is running the wire to the back camera. If you don't want a back camera, obviously you can stop where I was at, and it makes the entire plug and play process super easy. But for me, I would like to have a back camera as well, so I might as well throw this on. And I have something special just for the 4Runner. So on the 4Runner, when you are doing the rear camera, there really isn't a spot. Obviously, you would not want to stick it to your rear window because the window moves down and up, so you do not want to do that. I mean, and putting it a bunch of other places you can do so, but I found, and from doing a lot of research, a lot of people actually end up using this headliner clip right here, so I kind of pulled on mine a little bit just to make sure it would come out. And searching some of the forums and stuff, people were showing some 3D printed parts that they were making to mount their cameras. So I initially downloaded a few and printed them just to see how they were. This one was nice, but it was way too big for what I needed. Then the other one I downloaded was really small, so then I ended up making my own, which is kind of like a mixture of both, so that way I have room to double side stick my camera on, but then also have room to, this is pretty much where you're going to put the clip over and then snap this into place, and then your camera is going to double side tape to this. So let's just fish this wire through. I'm gonna probably go through the pillar and then down and then all the way over and then back up. So that might change, trying to go through the process, but that's how I'm gonna start first. I want to give a quick update on where I'm at. So I decided to actually take it up on the top, but when you do this, you do need to watch out for this airbag. So make sure the wire is actually on the back side of the airbag, because obviously if an airbag goes off, it's going to go into the cabin. So don't just shove the wire underneath here, and made sure it went over the airbag. So I came up on top here, over the airbag, and now I'm feeding it through here. I popped off this clip up here just by kind of giving it a tug, and I just fished the wire through. So I kind of used a coat hanger with some electrical tape just to tape it on there, and we'll just keep running it to the back until we get pretty much all the way over there. So, but yeah, just, you can tuck it, but I recommend you pull back the weather stripping so that way you can actually see where the wire is going behind that airbag, because otherwise you just don't want it to interfere. So let's just keep pushing along, getting all the way to the back. I just fished it from the back seat to the trunk, and you will have to pop off where it says the curtain airbag, just so we can get a little better access. And then there is also this that goes above the window. Pretty much just get a pry tool. There's 3 clips. I dropped one, I gotta go find my other one, but once you do that, then you'll have plenty of room to get it up, and we're gonna run it out over here, and then we'll get it over here. So we do have excess cable, so we are gonna have to try to find a spot to bunch it up at. I'm hoping that somewhere in here we can kind of zip tie it and then bunch it in there. So I mean, there is some room over here as well right before the window, but it's a lot easier to know where you're supposed to, how much you need once you get more closer here. So I'm just gonna feed all this stuff up and then come out and we'll see what we need to do. All right, so my brother-in-law actually just stopped by and he helped me finish routing all the wires and stuff. So we ended up putting all the extra wire on a zip tie here and then just shoved it up. There's a pretty decent sized pocket there that we ended up doing that, and then we just routed the wire underneath the headliner here, and then I ended up putting the 3D printed part right here, so that way we can double side tape the camera onto that and then we'll be good. So, but I pretty much had to pop this panel off to get a decent view inside here. Just don't drop any of your clips. I dropped one and it fell. I had to fish it out from over here. But now let's push everything back together, get this piece back on, and we should be ready to go for a test drive. Just got everything buttoned up in the back. I did not poke a hole in my headliner for this wire. I may do so depending on if this ends up getting in the way or not. But I mean, so far everything looks really good. That 3D printed part is holding on. It does rotate, so we'll see how this holds up with vibrations and everything like that. But it doesn't feel like it's gonna fall off at all, but it can kind of rotate back and forth. So, because since there's only one point of contact holding it, it can just rotate on. But pretty much got all the wires tucked up, put all the extra wire right over here, and then ran it all behind the airbag over there. So let's go take a peek at the front one. And the front one is also installed. Let's give this a, that looks amazing. Let's take off that one, and I guess the front one as well. So now this thing looks brand new. Sitting in the driver's seat. So sitting in the driver's seat with me, If I have this way I want it, I can slightly see it, but it's not an eyesore. I do personally like to put them up a little higher. This rear camera, there's not a lot of adjustability. I already have this pointed down quite a bit. You will have to kind of see it a little bit in order for the camera to actually see inside the cabin. But all in all, looks really good. And I definitely want to say a shout out to FitDVR for sending this out as well as the power adapter to show off. This is pretty much a new brand of the FitCam X camera that I originally have in the GR Corolla. They are trying to make plug and play cameras for many other cars by utilizing this DVR adapter to do that, and they also sell their own branded dash cam as well. So let's dive into the features on this thing and then go take a drive and see how everything looks. Alright you guys, so it's actually been a few days since I last installed the dash cam, and I was going to get some footage and everything like that, and for the first few days it was okay, and then this started happening. So this was actually, it kept falling off, and to find out that it was actually the 3D printed piece that I had made was starting to warp because I had made it out of PLA. And I went to go make another one, and I was actually talking with a buddy of mine that actually does 3D printing, and talking with him, he actually made the same thing but out of a much better material. I want to say it's some carbon infused plastic, but I'm not exactly sure. But he had made this, and it actually is working perfectly. So I just need to install a new one in the car and get this looking perfect. So like I said, I actually threw away the old one. So I'll throw up a picture of what mine actually looked like. This was going to be the second one that I was going to use to see if it was going to make it any better. But like I said, after talking with my buddy, he mentioned that PLA just can't withstand the heat. I mean, it's not like it gets super hot in a car, but it's like 100, a little over 100 degrees, and that's when PLA just starts warping. So he opted out to help me make my own, and he ended up even laser engraving and everything, which looks awesome. So I wish he had a Instagram or something. I would link it down below, but he does not. But he even laser engraved Toyota 4Runner on the top of that, and this thing looks really good. So I'm going to clean this really good, put on some new double-sided tape, and hook the camera back up, and it should be good to go. If anybody would be interested in something like this, shoot a comment down below, and maybe we might make this, and if there's enough people, we might make it and sell some. As I mentioned before, there's literally just one headliner clip that all I gotta do is just pry it out, and then we'll throw this in top of that, so it'll go pretty much like that. Alright you guys, I honestly don't think this could look any cleaner of an install right here. I mean, potentially, as this thing is designed, I might poke a hole in the headliner and run the wire through there so it's really, really small, but right now I don't want to poke a hole in my headliner, so I'm not going to. But this honestly looks super nice. Alright, so hopping in the car, this honestly looks really good. This is kind of an eyesore, especially where it's sitting at, where I had put it. I mean, I could have probably put it a little bit lower, but I don't think it would have made that big of a difference. But everything plugs in here, and it's super nice. No need to run any external power or anything like that. Everything is powered off the mirror, which is super nice, so that is good. And then what's nice too about this adapter from FitDVR is not only does it have a USB source, but it also has a 12 volt like power adapter as well. So if you had like a dash cam and like radar detector or any other aftermarket thing that you might have that runs off of a, like I said, it's like a 12 volt DC plug that you would normally see. Like I said, we'll go for a drive, test it, see how everything looks. Right now I'll kind of just go over, this is what the camera quality. So turning the camera, this is what the camera quality is of the interior dash cam. I think it looks pretty good. I'll see what the audio sounds like. I think it sounds pretty good from some of the footage I had already looked at. It does seem pretty nice. So, but now let's just go take a look at some of the features on here. If we look, you'll have plenty of settings to adjust when it comes to storage, language, date and time, Wi-Fi, resolution, loop recording, how long each video will be, sound record, exposure, frequency, G-sensor, display. So you name it, I mean, there is pretty much a setting for it. So, but one of the best ones to get is the Wi-Fi. So you turn that on, and then you can connect and view and download all the footage onto your phone. So let's just make sure the Wi-Fi is on. So we'll turn it on real quick. And once it's on, there will be pretty much a default password that you'll log into. So you'll download on your phone, you'll download the FitCam X app that is pretty much, this is a off-brand of FitCam, which is another camera that I have in the GR Corolla, which is also really good. So this will connect to the camera. It's going to ask you some Wi-Fi settings. We'll connect to it. And we should be connected. So now we'll go back to the app, and we have a live feed of everything of the front camera, the interior cabin, and the rear camera. So all that is really good. You can view and save footage on here as well. So, and you can adjust some of the camera settings on here as we kind of went over before. So it's really nice that you have this as well. If, like, say you get into an accident and you need to hurry up and save the footage, or you just want to keep it on your phone so that way it doesn't get overwrote on here, that is really good. So that is one plus of having this camera as well as what's nice about this camera compared to the one in the GR Corolla is the GR Corolla, you don't have any screen, so you really don't know if it's recording or anything like that. And I frequently would just, like, a couple times a month, I'll just open the app and just make sure everything is recording and looking good. But here, now that we have, I mean, the rear view mirror will be in the way, but you can kind of see it from underneath if it's recording or not, and if there's an issue, it'll probably pop up on here and let you know. So, but yeah, this camera, I mean, I've had it in for over a week now, and it's actually been running really good. So just make sure you plug in all your cables really good, so that way you don't have any loose connections or anything like that. I kind of had a loose connection at the beginning and found out that I wasn't pressing the USB-C cable all the way in, so I had to uninstall it, reinstall it, and make sure everything was getting a good connection. So, but yeah, this camera, as you see, it is a pretty good camera. You should be able to see license plates from the front, and I live in Florida, so you don't have any front license plates, but you should be able to see people's rear license plates with the front camera, obviously. But yeah, if you guys would be interested, down below I will put a link down below to this, and I do want to say thanks for FitDVR for sending this out and supporting the channel for everything going on with all the dash cams. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys are new, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time.